All right, I originally recorded this video and it was a little too long, so I wanted to shorten it, just make an easier video. It's just my take on creating music from scratch, AI, and Splice. And the reason why I put those three together is because those are three of the most popular things that are going on right now in music, right? You have some people that are more purists who say, no, you need to play everything. It needs to be, you grabbing an instrument doing it. And while at one point in my life and my creativity, I felt that way too. I was like, I need to learn how to play. This is, I don't want to be that person who just piece together parts or whatever and make it work. I think there's a lane for everything. So there is the playing the song and playing the melodies and all that to me sounds really good. And if you get talented at it and you can do it really well, you'll be happy with, playing music in that format. But there's also a lane for AI. And what I'm saying by that is, though Instant Composer is an AI tool used to generate a whole song for you, even when you generate a whole song, like here's C major, I'm going to generate some chords, and then I'm going to just generate all of these notes, right? I'm going to go A, boom. So it gives me the drums, it gives me some chords, pads, bass, rhythm, and melody, all generated. If you don't like the melody, you can go down here and generate another one till you get what you like. Let's try that, okay? And then all you got to do is drag these parts out to wherever your chords are. So if you have chords, you just drag them to the chords, right? Let me do that. There we go. Command L. Now you have some chords. And they sound good. I mean, they're usable, right, for something. And you can do this over and over and over till you get it. I only did the chords because I have a piano right there. It makes it easier. I could have done the bass too. So let's do that. Let's just do the bass. Since I already have a bass here, won't hurt. Here's the bass they made for it. Okay, and then I'm gonna go in and make this bass. I'll mute it like R&B. Where is it? R&B, take that out. Then turn this down about 6 dB. Okay, so here you go. I don't like that bass at all. So you see what I'm saying? Like you could press it, you could generate something, sure, but it doesn't mean that you're gonna like the bass that you hear on it. So there's me generating another one, right? And then I could sit and go back to Insta and just grab that bass out because I don't like it. I want to find another one. It's a bit busy for my taste for this, but I'm just saying that's the way you could do. And while that works, you'll sit there and be pressing generate forever till you find something you like, and it may come out fine, but then you really didn't learn anything except for that you can press a button and generate it. You're George Jetson in that moment, right? You still have to put something into the art of it to create something that sounds good to most people. It's very rare you're going to click a button and it just generate a song for you and boom, you got the whole thing. And there's a ton of tools that tell you that, oh, you can generate that. And they'll show you one or two ideas where they generated something and it came out nice. And it's fine. But it's no guarantee that that song is going to be good to other people just because it generated it. Okay? So AI has a place in the game, just like playing music has a place in the game. And for certain styles of music, generating might be good for certain styles, perhaps for EDM, IDM, things like that have some rhythm to them, but they are more on the grid, as we would say. They're not really, they're not like a loose to feel like, they're not supposed to be, to feel like you sit there and played it. It's meant to sound a certain way. And if that's the style of music you like, then that's perfectly fine. How you build it, may be different than what other people would do, or how you cook it up, as some people say, right? Then you have things like this form, which I like, which is UVI's factory percussion, or percussion factory, I should say, where you pick a rhythm or pick a preset, right? Or you don't have to pick a preset. You can start from scratch. And then it gives you some basic layout, which it gave me a layout here. And then I can draw in stuff, or I can use what they have, or I can manipulate, I can change it up, put some swing on it, change the volume, how loud it is. There's a lot of options, right? So let's hit this. Right? And I can play until I come up with a rhythm and record that rhythm in. Or if you look down here, you'll see the blue notes are just individual ones of these, and these are just the sound. So I can play individual sounds and come up, right? Just showing you that you can use those sounds and create your own rhythm patterns. You don't have to use these over here. This tool is the AI I like, right? Personally, because I'm not limited to just using a sample, a loop. Samples are fine, by the way. I mean, that's, almost anything digital these days, or music made, majority of it, I'm going to say 75% of it for sure, is probably sample based to some degree. I've seen people use, I think it was Andre 3000 on his newest album, that's Flute, where he said he even used the digital flute stuff that's out there. He used a digital flute thing to play in some of the songs. So there's nothing wrong with that. You can use what you got. In the end, the listener just wants to hear good music. They don't know, majority of the time, they don't go back and say, I wonder how exactly they made this one little part. They may not. They may just enjoy the music, right? And that's fine. So those are two avenues. There's the cooking it up from scratch. There's the using the AI and manipulating how the AI, works, or, the sound. And then the final one is the one that I don't care for the most. And that's splice, where you're just dragging a loop in and stacking loops and then saying you built something. Now, again, I'm not going to get on that subject. It's personal if you feel that's okay. But I think a loop can be a way to help you get started. But taking a bunch of loops and putting it together is no different, I guess, than me going out and buying 4 parts to a meal that are already cooked, already made, and me bringing it into you, setting it in front of you, and said, I made you dinner. No, you bought me dinner. You didn't make me dinner, right? There's a difference between making a dinner and buying someone dinner that's already made by somebody else. That's the difference between using Splice versus using AI and being able to play. Now, the drawing in notes thing, I'm going to touch on that just really quickly. It does not bother me at all. I do it sometimes for drums. A lot of times, I'm not a drummer, and I'm just not that good. Okay, maybe I want to be a drummer in my mind, but I'm not that guy. But if I highlight a section here and I go Shift Command, I can have a loop here, and then I can drop a snare, and then I can just plug in where I want the snare to hit. Or I could drop a snare in. I'm going to grab a snare just so I can show you what I'm talking about. Let's just go here. That'll work. Drag it in. Put it on a one shot. Turn the metronome on. I'm going to put it on 96. God, that's loud. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me do that over because I didn't have the metronome on before I started. And let me see if I can turn the metronome down. Yeah, because that's going to drive me nuts. All right. That was extremely loud. Here's what I'm talking about. And then play it back, and you'll see if you go into the here that these, if you look really close, some are ahead of the time. Like this one's definitely ahead of the time, right? And I don't mind it. This one's a little late. This one's actually late too. If I want them all on time, perfect timing, highlight them, hit Command U, and quantize it, right? I don't care if they're on perfect timing because I just want them close. And a lot of times I don't quantize majority of the stuff. I just don't. I play it, and if it's a little off, it's a little off. Now, if it's way out of the pocket, then I might fix it for sure, okay? But there you go. So you can play it like that, or you can draw it in if that's what your aim is. Some people will draw them in. I get it. If you're just doing a basic snare and you're not trying to do a bunch of extra ghost snares or anything like that, drawing them in, why not? I mean, it doesn't make a difference to me. Some people say, well, you lose the velocity if you play on the keyboard. Technology has gotten so good. Look, highlight the thing. You can randomize the velocity, okay? Just hit randomize, and it'll randomize it down here. Then if you want to get further, you can go here and hit this velocity range and shift the velocity range so that when it plays, it doesn't play perfectly the velocity every time. So it could be a little off, a little on. And then you can literally make copies of that and you got your snare. So what I'm saying is technology has gotten to where it's easier to do certain things. But easier doesn't necessarily mean that it's better. And just because somebody sits and plays the whole thing through doesn't mean you're going to like that song either. So it just really depends on, it's really depending on the person that's listening, right? What they like and don't like and so on and so forth. That's why it's hard to say something is better or not better. It's so subjective to the person. But I will say this is at least playing in something, even if it's not the best, right? And to me, that is something I prefer to see done more than taking a loop. Now, if you're going to use a loop and you use it in a cool way, like you slicing it up and then playing it back, or you manipulating it some way to where it sounds different, that is impressive. I think that's good. But I don't want to hear the same loop in everybody's song, the same thing over and over and over. It gets boring, and it tells me that the person didn't just is doing it for a cool factor and they're not trying to really make music. So make music, you know what I'm saying? Like actually get in there and make some music, vary up your stuff. If you're going to use loops, do something different with the loop, you know, and maybe it was done originally. Go in there and vary your volumes up a little bit. I'll pull this one off. Vary up the volumes a little bit. Do something to make me feel like you put some work into it. Because making music is a form of work. It doesn't feel like it when you enjoy it, but it is. It's a measure of work, right? All right, so same thing when it comes to a kick. These are all 808s, and I really don't want an 808, but that's a dirty kick. I like it, though. Okay, so same thing with a kick. Put the kick in, filter the kick, do something. I like to put, oh, and by the way, somebody asked me why you don't use the drum rack. First of all, I do sometimes use the drum rack, but I like my sound separate, and then the drum rack, until they make it where you just can explode the track and that you can, okay, let me correct myself. You can explode it. I just don't like the way it does it in Ableton. it removes the sample and puts it on another instead of leaving it all together and just putting the parts on a different one. And I don't want to manually go in and do that. So a lot of times I'm not drumming my parts together. I drum them separate. And the reason why I do that is because I'm not a drummer. So it gives me a chance to play something a little bit different. I will play stuff the same exact way if I do it together with my two hands doing it, because not being a drummer, I'm always nervous, like I'm gonna be off more so than when I do it this way. So if I record this way, I find it just preference, right? Okay, so I find that if I play my drums this way, that was terrible. But as you can see, I'm not a drummer. So Command U, sometimes I'll put those and quantize those though. So whatever, it's bad drumming, okay? But the point is that it's already separated. I can change up the rhythm easier for me. Like if I feel like I want to play something a little different. And by the way, I prefer to play on keys or pads. Pads are great, but I don't mind playing on the keys. And I'll do keys, but sometimes before I use the pads. This is just me. Okay, we're all different. Some people need pads or feel like they can't do it the other way around, whatever the case may be. So I'm just doing this real quick to show you. Put them all together, Command J, right? Now you consolidate the whole loop. And you can go in and manipulate it. Same principle. The velocities might be you might not want them as random, so maybe select all and just randomize it a little bit, maybe a little more than that. Randomize, and then change the velocity range. Okay. So, and then put your percussion on there. Little shaker. Watch this. All right, didn't like that part, but that's fine. It doesn't really matter. I'm just showing you real quick that you can do that. Say you like that part, duplicate it out, whatever, and then you have. You see what I'm saying? So at least there's some effort involved in making this music to some degree. It's not me, even though you'll see me click in or you'll see me do a few things like that. Let me highlight that and go, oops. There you go. This isn't a great song. I'm just putting something together. So that's the difference between just dragging in something and at least trying to make something. Sure, it's not the greatest song, but at least, you know, I'm trying, right, to build a song from scratch. I'm learning, I'm growing, versus taking somebody else's stuff. You're not really growing. You're just taking their stuff, and you haven't even tried to build anything in that song. Again, sampling one part of a song, a piece of something, micro sampling, mangling, all that stuff is totally opposite of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who literally just drag in, drop a sample in, 4 samples, and say, oh, they made a song. You arranged a song. You didn't make a song. You bought the meal. You didn't make the meal. So, yes, putting together good sounds matter. And yeah, and an arranger can do that. A person who arranges, they know when to drop out stuff, when to bring in stuff. They get that. You might even classify that as a producer. A producer knows when to bring in stuff, drop out stuff, but they may not be the one that actually wrote the track or made the track in that essence. They just know how to arrange well and make stuff sound good. So there is a difference. And I think all have their place, but it's just that we hear people, or I hear people at least, that are saying they made stuff when they didn't really make it. And I can sometimes capture it too. Like I can, if I'm listening to a song somebody made or say they made, I'll be listening, I'll be like, man, where's that loop from? Right? You can almost hear the loop because it doesn't even, there's nothing in it that felt like they put anything, their time into it. And again, you can't tell it always on EDM and stuff like that because it's not the same. But especially when it's something that's like soul music and stuff like that, when people put arrangements together, I can usually tell like if it's fake, unless they really went in and doctored it up. So again, it's preference. These are just opinions. You don't have to, sorry, that was my chair. You don't have to like them. I'm just telling you, these are my opinions on making music. Hopefully you benefited from it. If you didn't, don't worry about it. Just move on to the next video. But if you want to put your thoughts in the comment section, that'd be cool. I'd like to hear what you feel about that, whether you're the type of person that prefers a blend of stuff like that, which is me more. I think that's where I'm at, is I'm more of a blend of it, of all those things together. Or are you the type of person where you just like, nope, I'm cooking it from scratch. That's all I'm going to do. Just want to know what your thoughts are on that. And there's no right or wrong, so just express yourself. But remember to be respectful of other people too. Everybody's at different levels of learning, different places, maybe musically too. So we don't want to bash anyone because they may be really aiming to work and get better, but that's just where they're at their starting point, right? So just tell me, I'm curious what your thoughts are. All right, that's it for this video. I spent way more time than I wanted to, but I do want to thank all of you for watching, and thank you for those that helped push me over 1,000 subscribers. That is really cool on your part. Appreciate it. Even if you watch it, if you don't hit the like button, it's fine too. But I would like you to hit the like buttons. It does help a little bit for the algorithm, but more importantly, for the fact that I know when you hit it, the video meant something to you, and then I can know where to take the next video or which way to go. It just kind of helps me to figure it out. All right. All right. That's it for this video. I'm out.